Good morning, and welcome to First Church Boston. I'm Peter Bonos, a member of the Standing Committee, which tries to run this place. This is one of my last appearances in that role since my term expires at the annual meeting in May. You'll be getting new faces and voices at the pulpit. It's good to see so many of you here in person, but you who are watching on YouTube are also heartily welcome. If you're new to us and would like to know more about our community or Unitarian Universalism in general, please stick around for coffee hour if you're here. Talk to one of us. We'd love to talk. And if you're not here, visit our website. Most of you gotten. Some of you are familiar with the Unitarian Universalist custom of joys and concerns. This is the day of the month when we are to share any celebrations or sorrows with the community. You may not all have we're doing it in writing. This is a new thing with us. Instead of everybody having to get up to the mic and make a statement, write your joy and concern on one of these slips. If you have not gotten one in your order of service, wave your hand and Lynn Benson will hand one to you. We also have little golf pencils to fill them out with, and they will be collected during the offering. So put it in the collection plate with your anything else that you have to offer. This is a busy month, so there isn't that much, so I won't take that much time with other announcements. We got a concert coming up, followed by a sunrise Easter service the next morning. But today, come to if you're free after coffee hour, come to our social justice community meeting. It will be upstairs in the chapel. Have I left anything out? No? Then without further ado, let our worship begin. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's better.
I am the Reverend Dr. Stephanie May, and my pronouns are she and her. Our opening words come from the Reverend Elizabeth Mount. From our very first breath, we reach out. Co-regulation, not self-regulation, is in our nature. We find our cues from the sun and the moon, from each parent and caregiver. We find our place in this great turning planet by turning to one another, generation to generation. We awaken to the dawn and fall asleep at the evening's end. Our life's journey is part of something greater, something simple, something divine. A flame cannot be lit without a spark. A life cannot begin without the air, and we cannot begin to find ourselves without love. May we reach out to one another. May we offer love and nurturing care. May we join together in celebration of the interdependence of our lives. In this spirit, let us worship together. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit as we light our chalice, symbol of Unitarian Universalism, and say our affirmation. And as you'll hear a lot today, I note about love, and I draw your attention. What is the very first word of our affirmation? Love. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. I invite you to take a moment to greet one another and also to wave to the camera and our folks online. please remain standing as you wish and join together in singing our opening hymn, number 10, Immortal Love.
Good morning. I'm Mary Ellen Norman. I'm the treasurer for the First Church in Boston, and I'm here in a new role today. I'm excited to share a story that was introduced to me by Connie Hill. Many of you may remember her. And she has written a story for all ages and all time. So I had referenced her. You heard about her a month ago. I've been channeling her a lot. So enjoy this, and because I like challenges, use this as your conversation piece in coffee hour. So we'll see what comes up. So what I'm sharing today is Albert Einstein's most important question, and forgive me, but I will abridge this for time, but I encourage you to really think about the words that she uses. So once upon a time, not so long ago, there lived a man named Albert Einstein. He was a scientist and very smart. Because he was so smart, people called him Dr. Einstein. He liked to think about things, and thinking about one idea often led him to another and to another and then another. Dr. Einstein not only thought about things, he also asked questions. Then he enjoyed figuring out those answers. He figured out the answers to so many important questions that he became known as a wise person. However, we all know that not all smart people are wise. Because he was wise, people came from all over the world to ask Dr. Einstein questions. Many asked him easy questions, such as, how old are you? Do whales really talk to each other? And every now and then, someone would ask Dr. Einstein a really challenging question, like, is there life on other planets? One day, a small person with a very big name and an even bigger curiosity came to ask a question. Her name was Alexandra Elizabeth, and what she wanted to know was very different. She asked Dr. Einstein, what is the most important question? Well, Dr. Einstein thought Alexandra Elizabeth had asked a very wise question, and he told her so. He knew that questions as well as answers can be wise. Dr. Einstein thought about Alexandra Elizabeth's question for a long time. He thought about it when he got dressed in the morning, when he ate his peanut butter and banana sandwiches for lunch, and he also thought about it when he brushed his teeth and as he lay in his bed with his sleeping cap on. Alexandra Elizabeth had to be very patient for Dr. Einstein. She was more curious than ever, and than she'd ever been in her whole life. Many others also wondered what the famous scientist would say. Alexandra Elizabeth knew the most important question wouldn't be the sort most people ask, such as, will it rain tomorrow? Where do babies come from? Why did dinosaurs disappear from the earth? She was very, very curious. What would Dr. Einstein say? Finally, Dr. Einstein believed he knew what the most important question was. A large crowd gathered to hear him reveal it, and Alexandra Elizabeth was right in front. Dr. Einstein stood up. He cleared his throat. He said in a very loud voice, because he was nervous. He announced the most important question is the universe a friendly place or not? Then, since it was the most important question, in his opinion, he suggested each person think about his or her own answer to it. And after that, he sat down and looked at Alexandra Elizabeth and smiled. His question, is the universe a friendly place or not, puzzled many people. Even some considered themselves smart, didn't know why Dr. Einstein thought it was so important. Alexandra Elizabeth listened to those around her. She heard someone say, "What a dumb question." Others complained that coming to hear Dr. Einstein had been a waste of their time. Several suggested that maybe Dr. Einstein wasn't as wise as he was supposed to be. Alexandra Elizabeth just sat quietly and began to think about her own answer to this very important question. Before she could think very long, Dr. Einstein invited her and her father over for lunch. And of course, because he didn't know how to cook, they had peanut butter and banana sandwiches. However, on the trip home, Alexandra Elizabeth had lots of time to think about this question. She knew she could answer it simply with a yes or no, but she wanted to know why she felt that way. So she remembered that Dr. Einstein had told her that each person carried the answer inside themselves. So she closed her eyes. She pictured many things in her mind, and she watched herself smile at a new person at school. She imagined people shouting at each other on a sidewalk. She imagined people being afraid of others not liking them. She felt the strong idea that being brave enough to try something new was also something that she saw in this question. She thought about how much safer she felt if her parents listened to her when she was scared. Alexandra Elizabeth found herself thinking of the pansies in the park, turning their sweet flower faces to the sky and the sun sparkling like stars on the pond near her grandmother's house. She heard herself singing back to the birds. She remembered a time when she had so much energy with her walking, just naturally turned into skipping. When she opened her eyes, she felt so good that she laughed out loud. And then, being a curious person, she began to wonder where laughs come from. Inside herself, Alexandra Elizabeth knew her answer to, is the universe a friendly place or not? She realized that the way she thought created the way she felt. She began to understand why Dr. Einstein believed it was the most important question. She wondered how others would answer the question. Would their answers change if they changed the way they thought? Have you thought about your answer to the most important question?
I liked that story so much for today because when I think about the question, is the world a friendly place? I also hear, is the world a loving place? And today, we kick off our monthly theme of love. This is part of our year-long series of reimagining our 1630 covenant. And we've been breaking the whole thing into sections, and the section for this month is about as plain spoken today as it ever has been, which is to walk together in mutual love and respect one to other, each to other. The people who made that covenant in 1630 were Puritan Christians, and their authority was from God. They turned to the Bible to understand who God was and what God expected of them. As Unitarian Universalists today, we embrace multiple religious traditions, and we are undeniably historically rooted in Christianity. And I think it's important not to surrender Christianity only to religious conservatives. For a long, long time, First Church identified simply as liberal Christian. And I think it's important that we continue, when we think about the broad umbrella of who First Church is, to also include messages, liberal messages, drawn from Christian scriptures. And so when the Puritans would have tried to understand what love was, they would have turned to the Bible. Specifically, they would have turned to most likely to the 1599 Geneva Bible, although purportedly John Winthrop brought one of those newfangled King James Bibles with him on the Arabella. And so today I'm going to read 1 Corinthians 13 from the Christian Bible, from the 1599 Geneva Bible version. Though I speak with the tongues of men and angels and have not love, I am as sounding brass or a tinkling cymbal. And though I had the gift of prophecy and knew all secrets and all knowledge, yea, if I had all faith so that I could remove mountains, but had not love, oh my gosh, it's the first time I've ever done that. I turned off my iPad. Try that again. If I had all faith so that I could remove mountains and had not love, I were nothing. And though I feed the poor with all my goods, and though I give my body that I be burned, and have not love, it profit me nothing. Love suffereth long, it is bountiful. Love envieth not. Love doth not boast itself. It is not puffed up. It doth no uncomely thing. It seeketh not her own thing. It is not provoked to anger. It thinketh no evil. It rejoiceth not in iniquity, but rejoiceth in truth. It suffereth all things. It believeth all things. It hopeth all things. It endureth all things. Love doth never fall away. Though that prophesying be abolished, or the tongues cease, or knowledge vanish away. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part. But when that perfect, which is perfect, is come, then that which is in part shall be abolished. When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became an adult, I put away childish things. For now we see through a glass darkly, but then we shall see face to face. Now I know in part, but then shall I know, even as I am known. And now abideth faith, hope, and love. And chiefeth among these is love. If I were to ask you any number of questions, from your favorite flavor of ice cream to your beliefs about God, we would not all agree. As a Unitarian Universalist congregation, we intentionally embrace diversity and value inclusivity of a perspective, identities, and beliefs. And yet, in all of that diversity, we are held together by a covenant and a set of shared values. In the covenants that we make, such as the affirmation we said this morning already and say each week, and in the 1630 covenant that founded this church, we are bound together. Throughout this year, we have been reimagining that 1630 covenant. The language is mostly rather dated, and the religious convictions simply do not resonate with many of us today. But as I have tried to show, there are foundational questions resting beneath the text. What could it mean to be faithful? What could it mean to be in community? What could it mean to be whole in a cracked and broken world? And now this month, what could it mean to love? Now, love is a good feeling. That feeling is mutual, is the sermon title, that sense where you look at someone as precious and special, and they look back at you in that same way. That might be romantic love, that might be friendship or a sibling. There's all kinds of ways that we might experience love. And next week on climate change, we're going to even talk about interspecies love. So love is a good feeling, especially that sense of mutual love. Love is the relational glue that affirms the worthiness and dignity of each of us. Love assures us, I matter, while also insisting, so does that person, and every person. Specifically, the 1630 covenant calls us to walk together in mutual love and respect each to other. I think it's important that the Puritans specifically called for mutual love, emphasizing this relational and communal nature of love. In a 2022 article in Forbes, business leader Marian Evans extols why mutuality matters, noting that, quote, we're often fed the cliche that you have to be ruthless to run a great business. But she argues that a better model is mutuality. She cites a working definition of mutuality as the creation of shared and lasting positive benefits across stakeholders through an organization's activities. When I clicked on the hyperlink for this definition, I arrived at an article whose header image, I kid you not, was a group of 17th century men sitting around a table. It could have been a group of Puritans. The vision of a commonwealth built on mutuality is not just a historic relic. It is a vision deeply relevant today. As Evans writes, the economics of mutuality squarely oppose the theories of financial capitalism inspired by Milton Friedman. Mutuality claims that the theory of shareholder value maximization has little to no regard for our human ecology. The reality that people and businesses exist inside a web of ecological and social relationships, and that this human ecology is built on a foundation of common goods necessary for human and planetary flourishing. In other words, we are each part of an interdependent web of existence, as our Seventh Unitarian Universalist principle states. For people and the planet to flourish, we need to value this interdependence. We need to live by an ethic that promotes mutual well-being through interconnected systems of humans and planet, including economic systems that sustain human survival and flourishing. What does, or what might, mutual love look like in concrete practice? Author Courtney Martin describes how she learned about community from a maximum security prisoner. One day she received a handwritten letter from an incarcerated man who explains a lot of giving occurs inside among those who know they must live decades together. He wrote, "Many men are provided with less than $10 a month to purchase everything they need, which is wholly inadequate. But when things get too bad, anyone can ask around and get soap, toothpaste, and other such necessities, or some food. Many times, you don't have to ask. If your shoes are worn out, someone will give you a pair. If your clothes are yellowed or worn through, someone will give new." And yet, according to prison regulations, such mutual support is against the rules. But still, the men choose an ethic of mutuality. So love is a beautiful, wondrous thing, and love can be hard. I want to tell you two stories. Some of you know that I was away the last few days in Virginia for a Unitarian Universalist theology conference. And here we are talking about theologies of love, the importance of building community, and then it was time to transition to lunch. And the organizer stands up and starts to speak to the room about the details about lunch, but didn't use a mic. So if you've been in a room like this, suddenly everybody starts shouting, "Mike, Mike, Mike!" And the person next to me said, "Please, please." And I, having been one of the people that shouted out, "Mike, Mike, Mike," stopped myself. And I thought, I'm shouting Mike because out of a place of love, I want the people who are harder of hearing to be included. And perhaps there are people of harder of hearing shouting Mike for their own sense of self-love, that I deserve to hear what's being said too. So you can imagine the sense in which this is coming from a place of love. But that brusqueness with which it was being commanded was not necessarily loving to this poor organizer who had spent a lot of time and money on this whole event. And I turned to the person next to me and I'm like, "You're right. How hard is it to simply add please?" So in our interpersonal, those small spaces, there's little ways we can show love in mutual ways. My second story is I then went to lunch and I sat with two women who it turned out knew each other. They were both part of a congregation in Virginia. So I said, "Tell me about your congregation." And for 20 minutes, I heard about the congregation. It was good. And it had been a congregation where they had about 300 people in the congregation. It had declined, and there were more like 40 people in service now, 100 people in the books. And they had to go through a process to decide to sell their building, which was both heartbreaking for a lot of people, and at least for one of the women I was talking to, was like a no-brainer. The whole deck was about ready to fall in, and it was dangerous, so of course we let this go. But it was also hard because The music director used the piano in the building for piano lessons. And to sell the building also meant the music director would be losing their livelihood. Sometimes love can be hard. To be in a community and hold up relationships of love for one another and for one's church, and to make hard decisions together. But one of the women had joined after all of that, so she was learning along with me some of these stories. And she said, for me, what she experienced was simply a joyful remnant of people who loved each other and their congregation. And that's what drew her in. So even when love is hard, it can build beautiful things. Yesterday afternoon, when I know a lot of you, some of you, were out protesting. Do you want to raise your hand if you were protesting yesterday? Wow, yes, that's at least half of you. And I had to decide, here I am just outside of Washington, D.C. Do I go in and be part of this moment? Or do I stay in this community of theological exploration? And the decision was made for me when I found out the program on Saturday morning meant that Rebecca Parker, who is a Unitarian Universalist theologian and a mentor of mine, would be speaking. And what she spoke to was that in these hard times, and these are hard times, and perhaps you have been directly impacted, or you know people who have been directly impacted, or perhaps you're simply reading the news and hearing the stories and watching the people being taken away. In these hard times, when the dominant culture and the systems of power are so often acting against our values, Rebecca Parker said, now is the time to build communities of resistance. And what that looks like, in large part, is building communities of love. That we prefigure in our community the kind of world we want to live in, the kinds of relationships with each other that we would like to see at a larger scale. So I challenge you here in Coffee Hour today, while you're answering the question if the world is a friendly place or a loving place, talk to someone you do not know. Or be patient with the person you've long known and who irritates you. And tomorrow, when you're out in the world, ask yourself, what does love ask of me? It might be as simple as reminding yourself to say please. It might be talking to a neighbor or helping a neighbor or a stranger. And I invite you to listen to the people that might need more love in their life and encourage you to invite them here. Let us work together to build and be a community resisting hateful messages that demean immigrants, erase trans lives, and erode communal support for the vulnerable, the elderly, the sick, the poor, children. Together, we can practice being a community of love. In 1630, when our Puritan founders gathered to write out their covenant for how to be together, they were no strangers to hardship or division. Indeed, they had left villages and towns in England to form this new community because of the many dangerous rifts they had faced there. They were adults who were clear-eyed and the understanding of the reality of human conflict, and still chose to commit themselves to walk together in mutual love and respect to each to other. Committing to mutual love and respect for each other calls us to pay attention to the ways in which our lives are interdependent. I cannot promise that the universe will always feel friendly. Both love and hate exist in our world, in this place and time, as we know. And I know that daily, we are flooded with words, images, and actions that threaten to confuse and divide us. Still, I believe that love remains an anchor that holds us and a lodestar to guide us. May we not succumb to indifference or hatred. May we not demonize our enemies, forgetting that they too are a precious part of the web of life. Nor may we abandon those who are experiencing hateful actions that would demean their dignity and deny the precious fullness of their lives. We may not be able to overcome all the hate or stop all the injustices and harm today. But this should not stop us from living out a commitment to mutual love whenever and wherever we are able, including practicing it here in this community with one another. Love is the spirit of this church and service its law. We affirm this each week as we light the chalice. This call to love one another has defined this church since 1630. In 2025, may we continue to embrace a love that is bountiful and hopeful, generous and resilient. May you believe that you are loved, and together, may we be a people of love. May it be so. Amen. Blessed be. As you heard Peter say earlier, we're going to try joys and concerns differently today, and you should have a slip in your order of service. And so please, if you haven't already and would have something you would like to share, write that down. And as the offering is collected, pass those on. If you are online, please email me, revstephanie@firstchurchboston.org, and I'll have my email up on my iPad, and I can include your comments that way. Thank you. Oh, and yes, and the offering, which is itself a material way of expressing love, not just for the institution and the building, but for the community, for each other, for the person sitting next to you that needs to be here today and is here today because of the financial gifts that you have given and so many have given before us. So give as you are able, either here in person or online. Thank you. When I was a child, I spoke like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I became an adult, I put an end to childish ways. For now we see in a mirror dimly, but then we shall see face to face. Now I know only in part, then I will know fully, even as I am fully known. And now faith, hope, and love abide. Okay, yes. A few weeks ago, Sanctuary Boston led us in worship, and they taught us a song, There Is a Love. And we're going to use that. I'm going to pray, and we're going to have our normal moment of stillness. And then the musical meditation is going to be that song. I'll read our joys and concerns, and then we'll sing that song again. But so we're ready, we're going to practice the song first. So, and thank you, choir, because you always help us. So the words are in your order of service, although the last line is missing a word. We missed a love. There is a love holding all. It's pretty intuitive, so hopefully you'll fill that in. So let us practice. There is a love. Has the I version. We're going to sing the us version. Okay, so let us sing one more time through with the us version. Thanks. There invite you into a deep breath as we prepare for a moment of prayer. Let us breathe in and out and in and out. Spirit of life and love, we gather with so much on our hearts. Echoes of protests, marches are in our heads, as are the stories of heartbreak and fear. In these hard times, we pray for strength that so often comes from our faith and from our connections to each other. May we find time amidst all of the turmoil to remember the gifts that sustain us, to name with gratitude the people that we love, the people who love us. May we not be overcome by all that is hard, but may we have faith that love remains and abides. May we feel how we are healed by a love greater than all of us, a love that we can create together. As we rest now in this moment of stillness, may we bring to mind all that we love. And now as I read these, Lynn will drop a stone for each that I read. From Anonymous, I pray for patience and grace to get through these times of cruelty and uncertainty. From Fern, she writes to share her joy that Lindsay and Dan's anniversary is today. She is full of joy that we are attracting younger couples and parents who are raising their children here as she did. From Anonymous, I am grateful for all the people who came out to the march yesterday. It was so comforting for me. From Grace, for the first time since November 5th, I experienced a sliver of hope for our beleaguered country through the massive participation and positive energy exhibited in yesterday's rallies in Boston. Another from Anonymous, my joy is the turnout of yesterday's day of protest. My concern is we wake up today to the same destructive government. From Margaret Kading, my parents and best childhood friend passed over these last 2 years. However, I am very grateful for my delightful grandson, Peter, who brings fresh joy to my life and the comfort of our First Church community. From David, a concern of fear that we now have a fascist state. From Dan, another celebration of, we got a specific year now, 17 years of marriage today, April 6th. And from Anonymous, joy for the spring blossoms, magnolias, maple trees, daffodils, and more. Concern for friends whose lives are becoming restricted by physical infirmities and some mental deterioration. From Joanne, grateful to be with thousands of others, especially First Church friends, at the Hands Off March Saturday, showing up for democracy, a value that we celebrate here as Unitarian Universalists. What a joy. Anonymous was happy to commune with people rising up on the common yesterday, at the same time feeling grief about our country's supporting the attacks, murderous attacks in Gaza. And for Margaret, I'm grateful for good health, or good enough health. I'm not out of breath, and I can see clearly, and it's almost spring. I'm enjoying the moment. And from Anonymous, tonight I celebrate a milestone birthday with friends and family. I am grateful to have them in my life, grateful for another year around the sun. And from Ryan, a special joy to Emily for a happy 40th birthday last week. And from Gita, a concern that over 13,000 children have died in Gaza, 300 more in the recent offensive by Israel. When will this end? And I add my joy for Gigi, who week after week works really hard to find the music so that together we might create these experiences together for all of us. And for all of you, oh yes. I did promise I would check online, 1 second. And yes, we have two. Yay. Whenever we do something new, right, we're always learning. So a joy from Carol. Grateful for the live streaming and tech crew. Yay to the tech crew. And from Darcy. Thank you with all my heart to everyone for your support of my brother and sister-in-law. She died peacefully, surrounded by love, on March 21st. And I ask now that you add one more stone for all the other joys and concerns and heartbreaks and joy and love in your heart, our hearts. Thank you. And let us sing one more time. And now rise in body or in spirit as we sing together our closing hymn, 299, Make Channels for the Spring Streams of Love. Join me with the words to extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Sustained by our connections to each other and to all that is holy, let us go and be beyond these walls, engaging across difference, loving with abundance, and working together to sustain our shared world. Blessed be, amen.